oil's coming. Morning crew, and welcome back to the Andy Mechanic YouTube channel. Now I'm really happy to be back in the workshop because last weekend, I did a couple of videos, but I spent a lot of the time on the road taking stuff down to my house in Taupo. So I didn't get a lot done to Sarah's bike, and I really want to crack on this weekend. I've got both days completely clear to get all this work done, and fingers crossed I can get down to compliance on Monday morning. So I've prepared a bit of a list, and I'm not sure if you can see all of that. Look at that, it's very professional, isn't it? Like credits going up the screen. So we've got, right at the top, the steering head bearings. I need to get those done first. And fortunately, we've got all the parts in stock now that we need to get this bike done. The brake disc arrived yesterday from the States, so just in time delivery as always. So we've got the steering head bearings, and there's a slight index, slight notch in the steering. Not quite on full lock left, but it's not far off, and both Sarah and myself felt that, and it needs to be changed. It's a possible fail for the compliance if they spot it, and it'll only get worse. So I went for the, what was available, which was the all balls kit, and these cost about 60 New Zealand dollars, so they're not that expensive to be honest, and I'm sure the Suzuki ones would be a lot more. And the part number for all balls, there's a few different part numbers on there. I think that's the all balls number there, look, actually. 22-1003. Yeah, there is another part number there, but that could be the dealer part number, not entirely sure. So first job, and that's what this video is going to cover, is replacing the steering head bearings. It's probably the biggest job to do on this bike, to be honest. We've got to remove the front mudguard, remove the front wheel, calipers, forks, and then we can attack the top end where the headstock is and basically get it stripped, get the bearings removed. That'll be fun. Sometimes the bottom inner race can often be a real pain in the ass getting it off. I don't have a specialist puller to pull them off. It's on my wish list, but one day. And then we can install the new bearings, might be using the press for that, and get the whole thing greased up and back together and set the preload. So it is quite an intensive job. There is already a video covering replacement of steering head bearings on a different motorcycle on the channel. But you know, I've got this job to do, so you may as well come along and join me. Okay crew, here we go. Right, front mudguard. So we've got a couple of retaining bolts here, one here and one here. These are a number 4 hex head, so Allen key for those. We've also got a retainer here for the brake line, but I can't really get in there, so I'm hoping that I can drop the front wheel down a bit once the spindle's out, and then just flick that out of the way. Yeah, who knows? We'll find out. Jeez, so much work to do on this bike this weekend. It's going to be good though to get it all done. Right, other side. And we've got a little screw up there, look, holding these two brake lines in place, so hopefully that'll come out pretty easy. That's one. Right, posi screwdriver. Now this may have a little nut behind it. I'm not too sure. Yes, it does. Luckily I've got my finger on it, so hopefully we won't lose it. Sarah will be very upset. There we go, look. Little tiny M5 nut. I'll stick that on there so we don't lose it. There we go. Okay, so it's just that clip on the other side. Alright, now the mudguard's a bit more loose. Let's just see if I can get a pair of pliers in there, just because it looks like a little Christmas tree clip like the one that's up here. But you never know, it's not that easy when you can't see what you're doing. Didn't even need the pliers. Jeez, okay. Right, mudguard should now exit vehicle. Perfect. Right, next job, get the calipers out of the way. And I don't think we did these up too tight last time because we did whip them off when we inspected the disc and the wheel bearings, if I remember rightly. Man, it's a glorious day outside. I should be riding my bike. Things you do, eh? Right, that's those two. Wow, that was loose, but we know it was loose. It's all right. And when these go back in again, these bolts, they'll be getting thread lock put back on them. But that will be part of the front disc replacement video, I think. Which is probably the next one on the list. Super job. Okay, let's get these pulled out of the way. That's one, and we'll just strap those up so it doesn't scratch the wheel for it. These are really useful, these little like wired tie things. They come with the new motorcycles sometimes, depending on which country they've come from. Just hold that out of the way. Where can we go with that? Up there, look. Fortunately, Sarah's not too concerned about the paintwork on her bike, as you can probably tell. Right, that's one. Right, it's a good sign that the calipers come off nice and easy. It means that the pistons inside the caliper are not binding. They've actually got good retraction. So I'm hoping that all that drag that we saw on the previous video when we were turning the front wheel was really just down to that warped brake disc, which is this one just here, really badly warped. It was actually damaged when the bike fell off a hoist similar to this. It ended up upside down, so not surprising really. Right, we'll stick it on there, look. Bloody good. That was easy, wasn't it? Okay. Alright, so next job is to take the front wheel out, I reckon. And to do that, we've got some pinch bolts both sides, and there should be a big nut on the other side. Right, first thing I like to do is actually mark the tyre, because I'm a dab hand at fitting front wheels the wrong way around. There we go, look. Reckon I won't miss that, do you? Okay, first job's to crack off these 4 pinch bolts here, look. Now these shouldn't be over tight. In fact, I think from memory, 23 Newton meters, if I read correctly. Don't quote me on that. And these will be in the front disc video. Jeez, that was more than 23. Wow. You've got to be careful with this because they're a captive thread in the bottom of the fork, and if you over tighten them, it actually stresses the aluminium. It can pull the threads. It can also cause problems with the clamping effect later on because everything's stretched. Okay, cool. Right, now we can undo the big nut, which is actually part of the wheel spindle. Now the wheel spindle should be tightened up to 100 Newton meters, so I might be pushing it a bit, getting it undone with this small ratchet, but we'll see. Oh, I see. Okay, Andy's made a mistake. I'll show you. Right, this aluminium, or this collar here, has the threads onto the wheel spindle, so don't undo this side until you've basically removed the wheel spindle. We'll just tweak those back up again. So many variations on bikes, isn't there? Let's face it, Suzuki's are not my forte. Okay, that's about 23 Newton meters. Okay, back to the side. We'll give it another go. Alright, fingers crossed. Put it into lock. Maybe. Is it turning? It is turning. Shit. Just got to tweak up those adjusters a bit more. There we go. No wonder it's tight. Is it turning? There, we got it. Ooh. Fantastic. So now as I undo this, the wheel spindle will start to come out the forks. The Sarah had a heap of work done on this bike before she shipped it, but I don't know whether they took. Oh, they must take the front wheel out because they put a new front tyre on it. Yeah. So they've been in here. Right, I think that's about it. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so now we need to slacken off those two. In fact, we'll just pop that back in for a second while we do that, just to support everything. There we go. Right, other side. Okay, so now that the wheel spindle's loose, we can then crack these off. Get a bit carried away there. One, two. There we go. Okay, that should come out. And in there are the threads, look. Pretty good idea, because then if you knacker the threads, you just buy a new tube. Okay, I'll pull the spindle out for the rest of the way now. There we go. And front wheel is done. Excellent. Okay, well, next job is to remove the front forks. We need those out of the way because the bearings we're going to be replacing are right inside here. And we've got to get the top and the lower triple clamps off the bike to do that. Okay, more 12 mils, and we're going to slacken off the clip-ons as well. So 12, 12, 12, 12. We've got a hose bracket here, which is a 10, and some more 12s on that side. Is it 12? No, that one looks bigger. Hey, that's strange. We've got a mixture of bolt sizes. What's going on? Jeez. Okay, do this side first. Right, so we'll do these two first, I think. That wasn't really tight enough. That one was. Okay. And these bolts don't need to come all the way out, just a little bit. I think while we're on, in fact, can we just, no we can't. No, we need to undo that. 10mm socket. Oh, yeah, we got in there, no worries. Easy. Okay. Right, that can all stay on for now, I reckon. Okay, right, next job. Some more bits at the top. In fact, we'll just take that little clip off so we don't lose it. You can remind me where that goes later on, I think. Okay, we're not going to be able to get a socket in there very well, so we'll just use a spanner. It shouldn't be that tight. This is the triple clamp for the handlebar. Sorry, camera. There we go. Just admit a lot of things on this bike are quite loose. In fact, one thing I've forgotten to do. Not too sure whether these are in a set position or not. But if they're not, then Sarah's going to be really upset if things don't line up as they were before. So we'll just put a little line under there. And another little line there. So that I can line those up to where she wants them, where they have been. And we reassemble. Because once they move, we've lost it. Alright, it's alright, they are fixed. We've just seen some more bolts. Okay. Right. So that's the top triple clamp loosened off for the right hand front fork. It's also the clip-on for the right hand handlebars now loose. That fork should come out. Okay, let's get the middle. Oh, look at that. So easy. One fork out. Same on that side now, I reckon. Okay, get rid of that. There we go. So slacken these off first. Oh, wrong size. Steel 12s. Damn you. Okay. That's that one. There we go. Cool. Right. Back up the top. Coolio. Now on this side, I reckon I can get a socket on there. There we go. It's the left-hand triple clamp. That was a bit tighter, was that one? That's good. And the top yoke. Now the other fork did almost fall out, so let's keep hold of that. Right. Oh yeah. Perfect. Right, the next job is going to remove this steering damper down here, and we've got what looks like a 6mm, could be an 8, I think it's a 6mm Allen key just here. Now, because this has to come out of the way anyway, I'm going to remove the whole speedo console and fairing support, just to get it out of the way and give us some more room. I was right, it is a 6. Okay, we'll pop that in there, get it into lock. It should, oh, there we go, look, it's pretty easy. Super. Okay, we can leave all that lot on there, but we do need to remove this whole bracket. Okay, we'll leave the steering damper on the end of this front frame bracket that holds all the fairing and stuff, and the speedo console. And what we'll do instead is we're just going to undo these 2 bolts and take that whole piece out of the way. Just makes it easier, you know, for the sake of 2 minutes and 2 bolts. Of course the camera's in the way, but we'll work around that. Well, that was loose. Jeez. Now this one has got a nut on the other side, so we'll see how lucky we are. Maybe I can just hold it. Yes. Again, that was loose. Jeez. It's amazing what you find when you start pulling bikes apart, isn't it? One thing to be aware of is the routing for the cables and stuff. So the clutch cable stays on this side of the bracket. Otherwise you'll have problems when you turn. Okay. Okay, and both the same size. Cool. Right, that should, in theory, come straight there. Just a little clip. Perfect. Job done. Okay, we're winning. We're getting there now. We can get that around the back. So next job is to lower the hoist, because we've sort of finished right down here, and work on the top side. And all we need to do, I think, is undo a big nut and a few more nuts, and then we're there. Right, okay, so when setting preload and stuff and doing this job, it's really helpful to have the handlebars out of the way, because all the cables and stuff tend to make it feel a bit weird in certain places. And we want a real clean feedback from the load on that bearing set. So I'm going to remove the triple clamps now, and underneath there's just a little 10mm bolt, M6 10mm head bolt, which you can just see the little bit of the casting here. Look, so I'll undo those 2, and then there's one on this side. Where is it? Yes, same place. There we are, look. And then we can actually get rid of the whole handlebar assembly, and we need to unplug the ignition barrel too. Right, a bit hard to film and get in there with the camera, so you'll have to just use your imagination, I think. So there's no need to mark, on this bike, there's no need to mark those triple clamps. They'll only go in one place. Now obviously, hold on to the triple clamp, the handlebar, because it's going to drop. And this bolt really is just a locating bolt, just to get the angle, set the angle of the, oh, sorry Sarah, there goes your paintwork. Right, that's that one. A little clip for the wire. Right, that can just hang there for now. Okay, we've got, there's the wire for the ignition barrel, but it disappears down there, so we'll have to find that. And the other side. There we go. Perfect. Okay, again we can let that hang. There's no fluid on this side, so that can hang anywhere we want. Oh, a perfect bracket for it. Excellent. Okay, ignition barrel wiring. Whereabouts are you? Clip for the clutch cable. Oh man, that's right under the tank. Okay, I think we'll do a different one then. We'll just undo the two bolts that hold the ignition barrel to the top clamp. That'll be easier. Line of least resistance, I reckon. Right, let's see how we get on. These are like a security bolt, so you've got a, this one here, it's like a little star with the hole in the middle. But you can buy them. It's not a problem. Right, get it into lock so it keeps everything in place. You only really want to get one go at this, so you can chew it up. And it all goes a bit wrong. Man, that's tight. Poor old 1/4-inch drive. Oh, there we go. They've no doubt got a ton of thread lock on them. There we go. There's your thread lock. Much thread lock. That's one. And you can see there, look, what the actual bolt looks like. Maybe you can see it there. Okay, we're halfway. One more to go. Nice little perch for the ratchet this time. There we go. Super job. Right. Get rid of that. Show me where the wires go. Stick it down there, out of the way. Brilliant. Right, I reckon we can move this all the way around this side. That's going to free off everything now. Stay. Okay. Right, we have now the bare triple clamps, and all we need to do is undo this large nut, and then we can remove this top clamp. Oakley dokley. Right, put it into lock again, and then oh, too tight. Oh, this is going to hurt the camera, I think. Stay where you are, chaps. Oh, sorry, tank. It's alright, Sarah, there's no marks. Okay. Right, let's get rid of that one. Ah, washer. Come back. Okay, don't forget there's a washer on top. There you go, you see. Right, there we go. Perfect. Next bit. Okay, so what we've got here are the two, well, there's an adjuster which is the lower nut, and the top one is the lock nut. Now, you can use a small C-spanner for these, but I haven't got one to hand, so I'm just going to give it a little tap with a punch, and hopefully it'll free off. There we go. So that's the lock nut undone. There's a washer between them, and the washer is keyed as well, so it's got a little slot down the back there, look. And that one now is finger tight. So you'll see how it all works when we put that together again. Just support the lower clamp, whip that off, take the boot out of the way, Seems... well, it seems okay. I think it's supposed to be split like that. Okay, it's in two pieces. And now we can withdraw the lower clamp. There you go. And that's the lower bearing down there, look. That is the inner race of the upper bearing. That's the race of the upper bearing. And then the outer race is down there in the frame. We've got to try and get that out of there. And that looks like an absolute bastard of a job. Thanks, Suzuki. Okay, just a little close-up for you. So this here is the outer race of the upper bearing set. It doesn't look too bad, does it really? Let's see what the lower one looks like. Right, you're down the bottom. Let's have a bit of a clean. We can see a little bit of rust in there, where the grease has been squished out. And they're not taper rollers on this bearing, which I was surprised about. Just a ball bearing race. Now, these were borderline, so I wasn't expecting to see a lot of damage on the race, but I was expecting to see some. So let's have a little look, see what we can find. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, so you can see in there, you guys can see it a lot better on the camera than I can down here actually. You can see here, there's pitting in that race. And that, my friends, is why the steering was stiff or notchy in one position, and that's why we need to replace it. Okay, now the other problem we've got is if you see the casting here, the casting overhangs the race. Now normally on a motorcycle, the manufacturers are nice to us and they put a little notch in there so we can put a punch in from the top side and get behind this race and punch it out. And there's usually maybe 2 or 4 notches available. I think. Maybe. Oh yeah, Suzuki have been nice to us. So just here, and on this side here, the casting retracts, it recedes, and you can get onto the back of the race. So we'll punch that out right now, I reckon. Okay, hopefully, the light's really helpful actually. Hopefully I won't punch the race into the camera. That would be terrible. And if there's a bit of an earthquake on the camera, my apologies. And you've just got to work it one side and then the other. And you'll tell if you bind up because it'll get real tight. And that's bad. You don't want it binding up. Oh, it's coming. Jeez, it's coming out. Okay, gingerly taps. Little tiny taps. Where is he? There he is. Oh, look at that. Bloody good. Right, see if Suzuki's done us a favour and put a recess on the top one as well. God, I hope so. Makes life so much easier if you haven't got a recess, and there's some bikes out there that don't have it. Man, you end up doing all sorts of alternative engineering to get them out. Sometimes you can weld a steel plate from one side to the other, and then you've got something to hit against. So I hope we don't have to do that. Okay. So what have we got? Well, there's a bit of a shoulder there. Alright, so there's no shoulder whatsoever at the back here. So hopefully we're going to... And you've got to obviously punch opposites, so maybe we can get the punch under either side of here. But I tell you what, there's not a lot. There's more of the bearing race exposed here than there is on this side. It's a bit inconsistent. There's lots at this end, but nothing here. So I can't use this side because I can't hit on the opposite. Damn. Okay, well, we'll give it a go. I've had to position you where you are because as soon as I start hitting this, if you're sat on the tank with the camera, man, it's going to be major vibrations. So we'll just protect Sarah's paintwork a bit. I'm sure she'll thank me later on. Right. And now, this is an old screwdriver. It's a pound through screwdriver that I modified years ago for doing just this job. But you've got to make damn sure that it's a nice sharp end on it, otherwise it won't bite. And there's no guarantee it will bite, but we'll see how we go. Ooh, almost. I think it moved a little bit. Come on, mister, you can do it. Maybe we'll just start over this side because we know there's a real good lip on this side. There, look, see? Hold that in position. We have movement. Right. Maybe now we can get underneath a bit more. Definitely got movement. I'd like to hit here, but I can't. This is the problem. It's never easy, not when there's no recess. Try and I can see some editing coming on, people. Out. Jeez, try and do that. He's moving slowly. It's not coming out parallel, which is bad. No, doesn't want to. Okay, she's out. It wasn't a model extraction, but it's a very shallow race, so it's not too critical that it came out at an angle. It hasn't caused any burring on the frame, which is very important. Okay, back to the bench, I reckon. Well, we got it out, didn't we? Top and bottom. And now that the races are out, we can get the bearing number off the race, which is just on there, look. Very hard to read. This one is, looks like an SAC 3055-1, and it's a Koyo bearing made in Japan, so there's a possibility that's the original head bearing. Now, that was the lower race. That was the one with the that we saw with some pitting in there, and there's actually quite a few points where you can see where it's been indexed, just there, 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 and then on this bit here, look, that's where that real bad bit was, just around there. So definitely a good call to change these bearings. Very happy that we've gone in there now and done it, because bearings don't fix themselves, they only ever get worse, and you know, it wouldn't be much fun riding around New Zealand on a bike that doesn't want to basically steer properly. Become a bit of a pain. She's only a light framed girl, is Sarah, so you know, she'd get tired constantly fighting the steering on the bike. Now, are they both the same? Let's have a little look. Yes, they are. So the top and bottom races are identical, and the top race is actually in pretty good nick. We saw that on the camera. Okay, so we've extracted the outer races, and the inner race of the top bearing, which is that one there, that just drops straight out, and we can have a little look at that as well. Yeah, look, look, it's pretty good nick again. So the top race wasn't too bad at all. Now the bottom inner race, here comes the problem. So we've got the bearing, we can remove that, it's dead easy, stick that in in the old race there, look. But the issue we've got is the inner race of the bottom bearing. You can't just pull it off, not without a special tool. Now there is a seal down here. The first job we need to do is mutilate that seal and get rid of it so we can get behind this race. Now there's a number of different methods we can use to remove this. We might just be able to get a punch behind it and give it a little tap and it might just come off. Probably won't. The other option that I've used many times before is to grind away at the inner race, get it really thin. That induces heat into the race, and then usually it'll fracture on that grinding point and it'll just drop off. The risk there is damaging either the bottom yoke or the stem. We don't want to cause any damage at all to either component because this is a very important part of the bike. And any sort of marks or you know, if we grind into the surface, it could act as a weak point, and this could at some point fail, and that will cause a very serious failure on the bike and probably a crash. We really don't want that for Tool Girl Sarah, do we? So I think before I start that, I'm about ready for a cup of tea. I came straight out to the workshop this morning. You might be wondering where Sarah is. Well, Sarah worked extremely late last night, as she always does. Gets finished about 5 AM in the morning, and as she's already told you on a previous video, she dances at various clubs around the world, to be honest, Canada and now in Auckland. I won't tell you where she works, she can tell you that if she wants. But yeah, a little video just playing up in the corner for you, if I can find it, and you'll see exactly what Sarah does. And she's very proud of it, and she's extremely good at what she does. Professional is what I call her. Yeah, learning lots more about her. Okay, I'm off for a cup of tea and then we'll attack that bottom race. See you later, crew. Right, actually it was a coffee I had, not tea today. And no cigarettes, even better. Okay, we're going to attack this lower inner bearing race. We've got to get it off this stem. There may be lots of swearing about to happen, so my apologies. If that's the case, there'll be many beeps, no doubt. Okay, here we go. Right, so I'm very fortunate. I've got a vise here with aluminium, or aluminum, if you're Sarah. Oh, geez, sorry, bike. I'm going to pop that in there. Sorry about the earthquakes, people. And that won't cause any harm to that. Now, I'm just going to first of all put a chisel just down there and see if it's going to move. Because sometimes, just sometimes they do. Okay, now this is not a sharp chisel, it's about knackered to be honest. We'll pop it in there. Now in the kit comes this new seal. In the kit better come the new seal. Let's just double check. Oh yeah, there you go, look, and a sticker, perfect. So we can afford to mutilate that part. It's going to get mutilated regardless because we can't get it off. Okay, here we go. It moved. We had movement. Wow! Today's my lucky day. The problem is, you can only get to about this part of that bearing. Oh, let's get a flat punch now. We are well on the way to getting this off. Just flatten that down a bit. There we go. Now that's saved me a heap of time. Okay. Bloody good. Woohoo! I can take another break now. and no damage. That's really good. Very happy with that. Right, so new bits required. Okay, I got lucky. It's not often it happens, but that was luck. Now, you know, so it just shows, don't attack it straight off with an angle grinder. You might be able to just get it moving, and it wasn't that tight. Now, I said there was no damage. There is a little tiny bit. Now, it's nothing serious, so don't panic, Sarah. Just around here, there's a little tiny burr where the chisel has just caught it. So I'm going to smooth that off with a very, very fine file. But it really is nothing to worry about. It's the smallest little tiny burr possible. So if you get any little burrs, you must clean them up and get that surface flat for the bearing to be reinstalled, the new bearing. So I'll do that off camera, it's dead easy. Now, the inner race, let's have a little look at that, because remember it was the lower bearing set that was causing the problems, and we've only inspected the outer race so far. And you know, when you're doing this kind of job, you really need to look at stuff. That's how you learn for next time round. And it's surprising just how the smallest imperfection can cause problems with steering head bearings, or any bearing set really that's got a preload on it. Yeah, okay, here we go. Right, so not sure if you can see that or not. Is it in focus? Probably. There's another indexing mark there and there and there. There's 3 more little dots, if you can see those. As regards the hardening breaking through, oh, there's 4 dots actually. There you go, look, 4 little dots. 1, 2, 3, 4. But the hardening hasn't broken through like it had on the outer race. But those little dots are basically a little recesses in the surface of the bearing, and that will cause the handlebars to sort of sit in a set position. They don't want to, you know, they get a bit stiffer when the ball bearings come out of those holes, basically, and that's not how steering should be. Okay, same part number, obviously, same part of the bearing. Okay, so we'll crack open the new bits and let's get them fitted. Here we go. Right, I've cleaned it up with the file, and we'll just give it a bit of a wipe down. Get rid of all that grime, because it's a lot easier now than when the bike's assembled. Now, well, Sarah's not one for keeping a bike clean, but we may as well do that now. Just give it a bit of love. Excellent. Okay, and one final check for any burrs. Nah, we're all good. Okay, it's in pretty good nick actually, this bike, despite its appearances. Okay, Mr. All Balls, what have we got for us? Oh, free sticker, perfect. Right, that's the seal. Oh, we've got 2 seals, both the same. Could be one for the top. And the bearings they've got here, 993519-1s, both the same. Okay, so we'll just do one of these for now. Don't need that. Don't need part number. One bearing. Taper rollers. Yes, these are a lot better. We'll go for an upgrade. Okay, perfect. I like this. I like it a lot. Right. Most important thing is not to forget these. Now let's make sure they're both the same. 33, yes they are both the same. Perfect. That sits down there. If you forget that and put the bearing on, you will never get that on, because to get the bearing off you normally destroy them. Okay, so now that bearing needs to go down there and all the way down there, and the problem is we can't hammer it. So I think what we'll do is we'll set the press up. We'll find a bit of steel tube that we can put over here that will then press that bearing down into place for us. Right, said Fred, let's see if this is going to work. This is a bit of a bicycle top tube that I found kicking around. Don't tell Ben, whatever you do. He'll get really upset because I cut it out of the bike. No, not really. It was a scrap one. Don't get too upset. Okay. That shouldn't take too much force. You see it moving down? Look. Almost there. Perfect. Ta-da! Okay, we're cooking on gas this morning. That bearing is now all installed and properly seated, and if you haven't got a press, then a bit of tube and maybe a hammer just to tap it down. What you don't want to be using is a punch directly on that bearing surface, because the punch is hardened steel, the bearing's hardened steel. Good chance you'll chip the bearing or damage it. Ain't gonna work. Okay, next job is to install the two outer races into the frame of the bike. This shouldn't be too hard. Outer race, there we go. And the other outer race, and they're both the same, so I can't mix them up. Right, now I find this one of the hardest things to film on a repair, is doing the underside bearing, the outer bearing race on a motorcycle, so you'll have to forgive me with this. Now, critical that you don't fit the bearing race that way around, because if you do, nothing's ever going to fit and you'll really struggle to get this bag out again. So make sure it's the taper towards the outside, that's the larger diameter to the outside, otherwise you'll kick yourself. Now, the hardest part is getting it started. Looks like we're not doing too badly. I think we need a bit more on this side here though. There we go. It's going in. And you can't rush it, that's the thing, you've got to take your time. Okay, so we're now flush with the frame, but we've still got about another 4mm to go. So I'm going to have to find something I can use just to tap that bearing in a bit further. Now there's a trick. You can use the old race. Let's go and find that. Now there is a chance this race will get stuck in there, so we'll put it in that way and then we can get a punch back on it and tap it back out. Hopefully that's going to give us enough, but you've got to make sure you're lined up to start off with. Otherwise you'll chew the aluminium. And it's never easy. All is forgiven. Ooh. Now you can get pullers that will pull these into place, but you probably won't have one of those, neither do I. It's on the wish list there. You can see we're a lot further in now. About another 2, maybe 3mm to go. Very close. Maybe another mil. When you hear that loud noise, the pitch increases, that tells you you're all the way home. Fantastic. It's always good to check with your nail. Just put your nail at the back. If you can't get your nail in, you're probably all the way there. Right, we'll pop our punch down there. Very carefully, just pop that old race out. What we don't want to do is damage that new bearing, if we can help it. Yeah, it doesn't need a lot, look. Ha! Fantastic. Right, to the top side and do it all over again. Okay, same again, so it's the smaller diameter on the inside. Critical, and I've seen so many junior mechanics fit these the wrong way around, it's crazy. Now the top one is so much easier, partly because you're not working upside down. And if you want, you can even use the magic hammer to do this. Make sure if there is any swarf that flicks out, if you get it slightly going in slightly wrong, make sure the swarf doesn't get stuck between the bearing race and the seat, otherwise it won't be all the way down. That was pretty good. Where's the torch? Because you only get one chance at getting this right. Yeah, we're all good. Okay. Okay, so we're now flush with the frame again, and we're going to need to use that old bearing race just to get it the last bit. That's a pretty cool trick that I was taught, because you don't want to be using a punch. Done. Oh, and it even lifts out. Fantastic. Great job. Definitely all the way down to the seat, and it's critical that it's all the way down. Otherwise you'll find your head bearings will come loose further down the line. Okay, so just before we install the lower triple clamp and the stem, I need to grease up that bearing. And it's really important that you get plenty of grease in there, because they're not really a serviceable thing. You know, when a bike goes in for a service, you're not going to find that the tech is going to, you know, remove all of this just to change the grease on your steering head bearings. Basically, once you're in there, you'd fit new ones. So you've got to sort of preserve them. And if you're someone like me that pulls lots of wheelies on your bike, then you'll find that your steering head bearings won't last anywhere near as long as they should do, because every time you come crashing down, if you're a bit unrefined like I am, it really loads up those bearings and it can cause them to index. Which basically, you know, we've seen what that is on the bearing, haven't we already? Okay, that's cool. Right, we'll just stick a little bit extra around the top of the bearing. I don't think you can really over grease these, to be honest. It's not like a wheel bearing. They don't turn or spin fast at all. In fact, they don't usually fully turn at all. So I don't think there's any harm in putting a bit of extra grease in there. It's not going to get hot, and it's certainly not going to melt, you know. Cool, and that's also greased up that lower seal as well. Right, next job, top bearing. And again, we'll just work some grease into that. Pretty sure you guys know how to get grease into bearings, but some of you may not. And you've got to spin the bearing and push it down with your finger. The old way was to put grease in the palm of your hand and push it in that way, but I think this works just as well, to be honest. I'm using some old gloves so I can put them straight in the bin afterwards. Cool, yeah. A bit on the back side. Just trying to fill up that cage with the grease. Like you see, you only get one chance. Now's the time to do it. It's a shame that in dealerships you're always rushing to get these jobs done, because customers always think it takes less time than it really does to do these jobs. And you know, I'm about 2 hours in. I mean, fair enough, it takes a lot longer when you're filming, But this isn't a job that you can rush. And on some bikes, it can be like half a day's job if you've got loads of fairings to remove and stuff as well. It's not a simple task by any means. You know, little bikes, it's dead easy. Big bikes, not. All depends on the bike you've got. And fortunately, I've got the hoist to put the bike in, so that makes life a lot easier too. Okay, we're going to put a smear of grease on the outer races, and then we can start to assemble. Here we go. Right, just a dollop of grease around that outer race. It's probably enough here for the bottom one as well, I would say. Pretty good. It's always a nice feeling when things start to go back together again. Right, time for a clean up and we'll reassemble it. Okay, well, here goes. So we'll slot that up there. Coolio. Right, inner race for the top bearing goes in first. Then we've got that all ball seal to go on, because these bearings are slightly different design than the originals, so we need to fit that first. Then we can fit the Suzuki bit, which goes on, keep all the rain out. And then we can fit the first, I think these two nuts are exactly the same, so we'll fit the first one on there, and that will hold it in place for us. And then we can let go. Fantastic. Okay, now it's important, this nut here is the one that sets the preload. However, when you tighten this one down to it, it does actually increase the preload very, very slightly. We'll be very conscious of that. So we should now go and read and see what the preload setting should be. Okay, well there's different ways of measuring preload, and oh my word, somebody's here. Who could it be? Jeez, she's going to get ready. Anyway, I'll carry on and you can guess who it might be. Surprise visit. Well, Suzuki have told us that the specifications for the preload on the steering head bearings is measured at the end of the handlebars using a fish balance. Now, a fish balance is one of these. And I think you've seen on some of the other videos this tool. So we're going to have to fit, basically set the preload to what I think it should be, and we'll see if I'm right, won't we? Put the top yoke on, fit the handlebars back on, and then we can measure it. And if it's not in spec, got to take it all off again, readjust it, put it all back on again, test it again, and do that forever until we get it right. Ta-da! Tool girl Sarah is back on site.
Hello.
Hi Sarah.
Hi. Good to see you again.
Good job. Okay, well, just in time, because I need a helper for this. It's really good to have two people doing it. So we're going to set the preload. Oh, first of all, look! I've destroyed your bike.
It looks sad.
Yeah, it is quite sad at the moment. It's all in bits, but we're at a turning point. It's going back together. So it's a good thing, I reckon, don't you?
I hope so.
Yeah, because it's very sad when you pull things apart, but I did find a lot of loose nuts and bolts.
I believe it.
Which is quite worrying considering the way that you ride.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is all of this work has been a really good thing to do.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think it's going to help to keep you alive just that little bit longer, I think. Okay, so I've already told the people what we need to do. We've got to basically put the top yoke back on, the handlebars back on, set the preload first before we do any of that to what I think it should be, and then we can test it and we'll see if I'm right. Ready?
Got it.
You had a shower, haven't you? Yeah, cool.
Well, fresh.
Geez, the viewers are going to say, what's going on?
I just can't believe, like, every little nut and bolt just fits perfectly.
Oh, well, you know, they've built a few bikes out of Japan now.
It's not the first
pretty
one.
good idea what they're doing. Okay, so we need to twizzle this. This is the preload nut, and the more we turn that in, and that's clockwise looking down from the top, the more it squashes those two bearings together.
Cool.
And that's called
This
preload.
is all rubber? Yeah.
Yeah, as you see, under there's all the grease and stuff, so it's all greased up. And it's, well, you feel that now. It's the preload's not there, but you feel that.
It feels loose. Is it supposed to? There's no tire. How am I supposed to know?
Exactly.
I don't know what it felt like before the tire was on there.
So we're going to set the preload up on there. And you can see now, as I've just tightened that a bit, see it's got a bit more stiff?
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah?
a big difference.
So that's what we call preload, and it's those taper roller bearings and the ones that are in there originally, they have to have some force squashing them together.
Is that so it doesn't just go crazy on you on the highway?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you've got a steering damper as well to help with that, but it also means that when you hit something hard on the road, say a pothole or something, it doesn't
go crazy.
sort of go knock. It's because of the preload there, it holds the bearings and holds the stem exactly in the right place. And they use preload on like differential pinions and all sorts of stuff on cars.
Cool.
It's pretty good. Okay, so I need to give that a little bit of a tap, and then we can put the other two bits on. There you go. Tap. You're a funny girl. Right, here we go. Now I haven't got a C-span, otherwise I'd be using a C-span. And the mechanic doesn't have all the tools to hand. They're probably under the house somewhere. And I really can't be asked to find them.
Does it ruin it if you flatten it there?
Nah, not really. Do you want to just hold that still for us? I was ready. So how's your week been? Been good?
Yeah, I was chill. Did a lot of driving.
Oh, yeah, you went away.
Yeah.
Again, you went away again. Jeez. Living the life of luxury.
Not quite. Luxury
Right.
is like
So
a
we got-
5-star resort. Breakfast made for you in the morning.
Yeah, pretty much. Now I'm going to go for one more. All right, can you hold it again for us? How does that feel? All right, let's give that a go. If we have to readjust it, then we're going to have to readjust it. Simple. Right, little lock washer needs to go in there, and there's a little groove just down the side. And it can vary from bike to bike, and they don't all have the same setup. Okay, once that's on, top nut. Do you want to spin that down for us, Sarah? Look at that, hands on. Saves me a job.
Greasy.
Yeah,
I just showered.
a little bit. I've got some gloves for you. Do you want some gloves?
Too late now.
Yeah, jeez, there's a rag there, look. Okay, so we've set the preload to about where we think it should be. I'm just going to give that top lock nut a bit of a tap. And that now has locked those two nuts together so that they're not going to move. Yeah. See, feel that now? It's even stiffer now, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, you need to know how this works. So if you want to drop that on the top, so there's the hole for the stem. There you go. Perfect. And you get a free washer.
A free washer. Awesome. How much is the next one?
That's $4,000 now. I'm going to whiz that down.
There she goes.
Here we go. Right, don't need to tighten that up just yet, I don't think. Right, I'll just slide this forward because we try and keep the customer's paint looking nice.
Right.
Got to give it some love, eh? Right, now the reason why we don't tighten that nut is because this isn't lined up yet.
Okay.
So we're going to drop the forks in real quickly, just pinch those up so everything's lined up. And then we can also put the handlebars, which are basically clip-ons on this, back on, and then once they're in place, then we can actually measure the preload.
Okay.
Jeez, some bikes you just measure the torque wrench in the centre, and it's so easy, but this is not as easy as
It's
that.
a race bike. Nothing's easy.
It's a race bike, but fixing it's not fast, is it?
Mm-hmm.
You're very lucky that you've got another bike.
Something.
No, it's new.
I'm literally gonna cry.
Don't cry. I can't cover crying on you. I don't know how to react.
Just a tear.
If you ever need a hug, you know where to come.
Right here.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. I don't get up looking at it.
It's been like a year since I've really ridden it.
Really?
Yeah. I've given it like maybe a couple trips here or there, little ones, but nothing major.
That's terrible. Right. If you want to whiz around that side, you can hold that one. It's all a bit sort of There's a lot of stuff that I've tried not to take off, so that sits under there, and we've got a bolt to go in there, which is, he says, with complete confidence,
Oh, I can't believe I got a tear.
I think it's that one. Alright, so we go into lock.
You know what makes me cry about this thing?
What?
The power.
You mean the wind in your eyes, making your eyes
There you go.
weep.
Exactly.
Remember when I bought my first TDR750? I was only 17. And I'd never ridden two-stroke parallel twin with power valves and stuff. It's a fast bike. I mean, give this a run for the money. And it's a 250 two-stroke.
Yeah, two strokes are different.
Up to about 160 k's an hour, 100 mile an hour.
Yeah. Two strokes
It
are
would-
so
it'd
different.
It'd be quite fun trying to compete.
I feel like
But then
two-stroke-
you'd leave for dead later on.
I feel like you can't compare a four-stroke to a two-stroke though. They're just totally different engines.
Oh yeah.
The torque and everything's
But
different.
if you're heading for the finish line, does it matter?
If you're racing, no.
Isn't every journey a race?
Nah.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Right. So that's about lined up. So when we slide the fork in, it should line up, hopefully. Right, Mr. Fork. Oh, which one was it? It's that one. Here's that one. Okay.
I just want to do such bad things with that.
With this.
I don't know. It just gives me really bad thoughts.
You know, you were in so much.
Look at it. It's so big.
Oh man, the comments now. Seriously, I've got to deal with these comments.
I know. You're gonna have to bleep them all out.
Oh no, you've not sworn yet. You've not sworn. When you
I haven't. Or maybe I haven't.
Oh, on a previous video I got some grief.
Oh, did you? Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm not going to say what it was because you want to say it.
Oh,
again,
that
aren't
one.
you?
Yeah.
Right, we'll do those flush. Do you remember if they were flush or if they were above?
I don't remember shit.
Right, we'll do them flush for now then. Okay, let's just tweak that down. Wrong size. Damn. This is your bike. You should be doing all this.
Yeah, I know, right?
There's me on my knees fixing your bike for you.
You need knee pads.
Pretty good, mate, yeah. So we're not doing these tight, we're just, oh, that was the spanner one, wasn't it? Oh, shit. There he is. Yeah, we'll talk all these up later on. We may have to come apart yet. Okay, to the side. Come on, Sarah. You can thread that one through. Steady, lass.
Had to.
You just couldn't hold back, could you?
No. Oh, it's too big. It's too big.
Oh, I reckon you
there she
can fit. Right. Okay, down a bit, down. Easy, easy, tiger. Let's get it flush. There we go. All right. So, Mr. Ratchet again, please.
If this isn't facing the right way, does that matter?
Oh, it twizzles, so it doesn't matter.
I'll just turn it. Here.
Such a perfectionist. All right, if you grab the ratchet, then you can just tighten these up for us. Oh, hang on, we've forgotten your handlebar. Jeez.
Oh, yeah.
Hold that down there. You got it?
Yep.
Because I reckon you're going to need both handlebars, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, that will be pretty bad if we forget one. Right. Where's the thread? Yeah. Right, that'll do. I'll tweak that up in a minute. Okay, so bring it all the way up and then flush with the top. And just twizzle it, that's it. Give it a twizzle as you go. Down a bit. Perfect. Right, if I hold that, you get probably your spanner's best for that one. The top one.
That?
That one over there, look. There you go. Just give that a little tweak so it holds it in place. You're better off with the ring end. You leave less marks on the customer's bike that way.
Alright.
Cool. Alright, now you can use a ratchet if you want for these two. And that one as well.
That one?
Yep. So that one and those two. Okay?
Okay.
Cool. More like a bike now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's coming together.
Doesn't take long. Good job. That's alright. It's only temporary for now because we'll talk it later on. And there's just that one there, look, if you can get in. If not, we'll use the spanner. Wonderful. Okay. So at the moment now, we can check. See, I'm trying to keep as many of the cables off. Well, in fact, that needs moving. That needs to go there somewhere, so we don't want to take that off if you want. Come back. Mind your fingers. Come on, mister. You can do it. Here we go. Obviously got through there. Right. Okay. So we can now get the spring balance on the end, measure the preload, and see how far off I am.
Okay.
Right, Sarah. So it tells us down here that the initial force, that's as soon as the bars start to move, or to get them to move, between 200 and 500 grams. So that's half a kg, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Of movement. So if you put the bars probably in the straight ahead position, and we'll work out a way of hooking that on the end of the bar, turn it on, and we'll give it a yuck and see what we get.
So we go like this. There it goes. There's a hole
You got
here.
it? That'll work.
Now what?
Okay, so we've got to turn it on first. No. Right, Sarah, come over here. I'm going to turn this on now because it's got batteries in it. Alright, so there's your display. So what was the spec? Can't remember now. What was it?
200 to 500.
Oh man, you have such a good memory. Okay, right, so all we need to do is pop it on there, just hook it on the end of the bars, and then we'll watch the screen to see what the reading is when you first move it. So keep going. So we're about 0.4. So we're in spec at that, aren't we? Just bring it back. We'll do 3, make sure we're in spec for all of them. Reset, right. Let's go again. So again, it's just the initial movement. You don't have to go too far with it. 0.2, 0.3, yeah, about that. Okay, so that one's all right. Do one more. You got it? Oh, hang on, reset. I think if it stays in the same, what the hell? Kilograms, yeah, right, off you go again. It's quite delicate, isn't it? 0.200 thingies. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I think we're in at that. Okay, cool. Good job. So it just turns out we got the preload correct.
Perfect.
Bang on. Yeah. And if we need to adjust the preload, all we have to do basically is tap that lower nut a bit further clockwise, and then chase it with that one. But we've got to make sure that that's loose to do it. And then that's it. Preload set. Once you get it right, you whiz that one down, and everybody's happy.
So if I'm like on the bike and I find anything weird, I can just.
Yeah, I mean, if you need to increase the preload for any reason, but I mean, the steering will get stiffer the more you
that's what
increase
I mean.
it. Yeah,
like if I find it too loose or whatever while I'm going.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to go off road a little bit, right? So maybe when I go off road, I should stiffen it.
A bit stiffer, yeah.
That might be a good idea.
Should we do it more? We can do some more now if you want. Give it a tap.
Yeah, sure, may as well.
And then the people can see it. All right, so punch.
Yeah, may as well
hammer.
get it a little stiffer because I'm going to be taking it on gravels and stuff, right? So
Right.
that's when I'm going to want it nice and tight.
Okay, so full upright. We'll give it a little tap because I can get in there now.
What about this one?
There we go, that's tight. Any better? Or any more stiff, should I say?
Mild.
Maybe a tiny bit.
Pretty mild, noticeable difference.
Let's have a look. Right. You see we're at 28.30 before it even moves now. 0.4. So it has actually gone up.
Yeah? Okay.
Pretty cool. We're still within spec. Yeah. One more. It's all about accuracy, isn't it? Job done. I'm happy with that.
So now is the spec just for the bike spec, or is this for the road inspection?
Well, it's no, the road inspection won't test preload, but what they will do is they'll check the bearings for any notchiness.
Ah, okay.
Now we know that these bearings are going to be perfect because they're brand new. So, I mean, there's no way you could fail that now because, you know, I can tell him it's got brand new bearings in it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, next job is we need to slacken these off again, these 4, and torque that down. And the reason why I've got to slacken them off is because when we tighten this up, the whole thing's going to be pulled down, and if they're still done up, it just, the whole thing sort of fights itself. So you slacken them off for us. And I'll find a socket to go on there, which I did have at some point.
Whatever Emma's making smells so good.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
She's got to feed me for once.
She's like a little chef.
Holy crap. I very rarely ever get fed.
What? What do you mean?
I'm always in the doghouse.
Oh?
Yeah, always.
What, she eats without you?
I'm always in trouble. Yeah, but she eats weird stuff as well. So,
Oh.
so I can cope with that. Right, I need to find the torque setting for that. A. 90 Newton meters, yeah?
Okay.
So A for apple, A for apple, A for apple, A, 90 Newton meters. Cool, alright. Remember how to use the torque wrench? Because you've used this before, haven't you?
Not a torque wrench.
Did you not use it on something else?
No.
Okay. So you twizzle the handle and you'll see Newton meters at the top. See we've got 20 there, look, then 30. You've got to keep going all the way to 90.
Okay.
Alright. It's a hard life being a mechanic.
Hmm.
You've got to do stuff. Right, so they're all loose.
Nice workout.
You are good. Sure is. We good? You got it?
Mm-hmm.
Right, that's the easy bit. Now you need to pull that towards you until it clicks.
Till it clicks?
Yeah. You can see all the muscles ripping your arm. If you want to use 2 arms, you can, and I'll just steady the bike.
You sure?
Yeah, we'll put it on the stop. There you go. Go for it. Yes! 90 Newton meters. Good job. How's your arm?
My hand.
Is it alright?
It like pinched.
Go on.
There was like a white line.
What the hell did you pinch it on?
My skin. It's just because I have calluses, right? So
Oh!
they get squished.
Yeah, I get those too. Oh, I don't like good calluses.
Yeah, I got fat calluses.
But isn't it good when they peel off and you get blood and you make a little smiley face?
I don't ever get blood. No,
Right.
they never bleed on me.
So whenever you use a torque wrench, you must always back it off. It's really important. Otherwise, it goes out of calibration. And this one was calibrated. Oh my God. Calibration due the 11th of the 11th, 2011. So it hasn't been calibrated now for 7 years.
11's my number.
Is it your lucky number?
Yep. Yeah, that feels better.
Legs 11. Right.
Feels way better.
Cool. Okay, so now we need to torque all these up. So I've got to give you some more torque settings for these. So we've got that one, that one, that one, that one.
Oh wait, so we use another torque wrench?
And all those again. Yeah, but we need the numbers.
Numbers.
Oh man, what is it? Right, so you want 23 on there now. And 12mm socket. That's the socket you need. That's right. So
How do you...
So to tighten up, it'll always be in tighten up mode, so you should be going towards me to tighten it up. That's it.
Oh, okay.
It's probably just really loose, so. I can give you an extension though.
No, that's fine.
Sure.
Yeah.
I have one somewhere. You got it? Mm-hmm. Too good. Easy, 23 Newton meters.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. Done.
Kind of a weird angle, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just hanging in there.
Don't break, honey.
Nah, you won't break it.
I still want to strip it.
You're definitely on 23, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. And down there.
This one won't
It's
fit.
not going to fit, is it? Oh, damn. Okay.
Can you not just tap the handlebar out?
No,
because this is what we're tightening.
Yeah, because it's also pegged, isn't it, as well? So we'll just do an anti-tighten on that one. 23, yeah. Wait for it. Click. Oh yeah. So
Maybe you could.
You're a perfectionist. Yeah, look, this will make it work. Sarah, hang on. Sarah, calm down. Stop, woman. Give up. I know. We can do it better than that.
Oh, you have the piece.
We have a little wobbly extension.
Okay.
If that doesn't work, I've got a. Oh, you're on now, aren't you?
Nice.
You got it.
Oh. You did it. That was well done.
It's all good. All right. So you've got these. Done these ones?
Nope.
Those 4. Okay, they're the same. 23. Okay. So try when you're doing it, just try and go nice and slow and wait for the click because it's quite an act. Because if you do it too fast, you'll end up with a tighter torque.
Okay.
That's it. You got it. One more. Professional. Done. So they're all torqued up now. It's great, isn't it? We've done the top nuts, done all of these. They're all done. It turns still. It's great.
Perfect.
Good job.
Should we
Well
put the
done.
cable
High
thing
five.
back in?
Yeah, we should put all this stuff in, I suppose, at some point. Is Emma cooking for you?
I don't know. I didn't ask.
I don't know.
I didn't expect it.
No. No, well, I didn't even think you'd be here today. You just rocked up. It's like, wow.
Yeah, he sent me a message of the video, and I came out to Snow Planet because I knew it was pretty close to your place, so I figured I'd get a bang, get it all done at the same time.
Cool. Well, it's great having you here. If you want to hold that, I'm going to pop the bolts through.
So are we going to make like a little piece to clamp this back on?
Yeah, on the headlight.
Yeah. What was your thinking for that?
I've got to fix it. I'm not really planning my attack on that just yet, but it's going to involve metal, rivets and glue. I think. All up.
Yeah, I figure something like a little metal plate, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
With a hole in it, and then just screw it in on one side, and the other side someone screw it into the plastic.
It needs a bit of strength to it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So that's probably going to be my last job tonight before I give up. I'm going to edit the CDR and many other videos. And then the glue will set overnight then.
I admire the effort you have to put into your videos. I
I
try to
enjoy
put
it.
that kind of effort in my videos, but like I don't have a system, so it's just a big mess every time I start.
Yeah,
It's just a bunch of random footage I don't know what to do with.
It is hard. I mean, I have a template that I've set up which has all the intro in there.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I think I need to start doing that, making like mini movies
Yeah.
for each video, because I think it would render faster, edit faster,
It
like.
does. Yeah. Anything that's been rendered before renders real fast second time.
Like I
round.
should almost start doing like the first 30 seconds of a video, edit that, finish it. Next 30 seconds, edit it, finish it.
You can do.
And then when I'm done, put it all in together.
I have,
Because you can just save it as individual projects. You don't have to finish it. You can just leave it as like a piece of a project, and then, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if you edit it, then it's just a video file, and you can't adjust any little fine tuning stuff to it.
done. Yeah, when I was using Movie Maker when I first started doing videos,
Can
Movie
we just
Maker's-
ride it like this? This is cool.
You only go naked.
It's cool.
Just get your.
Put my headlight on
We
it.
could just get you that work. You have to mark it round headlight.
Oh no, but I like my windshield.
Ah, well, you
I
can't.
forgot about
You can't
that.
be naked and have a windshield. Doesn't
I
work.
like my windshield.
Doesn't work.
Yeah, I need a windshield.
Doesn't work.
It's the only way I can hit 300.
Well, I think we've got to the point now where we've finished the steering head bearings.
Oh, here we go. We can just take these out and just fucking re-glue them.
I'll do that tonight. Different video. Leave it alone. All right. Come on, let's go and sign this off.
Okay.
Right. Sorry for the rambling towards the end of the video. Tool girl Sarah is such a distraction in my workshop. Don't know what to do. So I always set the camera way too high. Look, there we are. That's better. I'll just do this. There we go. There we go. That's a lot better. You go on tiptoes and I'll crouch down a bit. Perfect. Okay, crew. Well, thanks for watching. Hopefully you found the video helpful. We covered a few of the torque settings to do with doing that job. It's taken me ages, but blame Sarah. Distraction as always. If you found it helpful, then why not click on the subscribe button. It's actually now a big circle, hopefully, if I do get my act together on YouTube. There's some little things I can put on. Annotations, there you go. So it should be an annotation, which you just click on my little icon thing, and you can go and subscribe. Pretty cool. Your turn. You're here now, look. Tiptoes on that side.
Oh, okay.
There you go. And we have to have a bit of a gap now, otherwise the Facebooky thing's going to go up on your forehead. Right.
Facebook thing?
Yeah, I think you see the little icons that I put on?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So you have to have a bit of a gap. So.
Right. Gotcha.
There we go. All right. Okay. So you'll find me on.
Should I be pointing right there?
Yeah. Well, you can if you want. That was pretty cool. Yeah. So ping. There you go. Facebook.
Facebook, Instagram, Google Plus, and Twitter. Is that good?
It's pretty cool. Do it in your broadest Canadian accent.
Broadest.
Your broadest, your most Canadian accent you could possibly do.
Check him out on Facebook, Instagram, Google Plus, and Twitter.
Easy.
Is that Canadian enough?
I've no idea. I've not been to Canada yet. Although Steve Robson, Canada, he actually helped me start the channel, so it's pretty cool. Yeah, real cheers, Steve. And he watches all my videos, so he'd be like, "Oh, Andy, give me a shout out." Sure did. Okay, crew. Well, there's lots more jobs to do on this bike. I'm desperate for a cigarette, so I'm going to have a quick ciggy. And then we'll crack on with some more videos. And I've no idea if Sarah will be in the video or not, because she's got a big long list of stuff to do all on your own, haven't you? Heaps of things to do. Okay, crew. Well, thanks for coming on, Sarah. Do appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
Help me fix your bike.
Thank you.
All right, guys. See you next time. Cheers. Over
Bye.
and out. Hey, tool girl Sam. How are you?
Back.
You're back. Fantastic.
So long.
I know, and I've got a new shirt, so I thought it's only right that I give you a new shirt too. So there you go.
So excited for my new shirt, and I don't have to wear different shirts every day. And as a classic Tool Girl Sam move, I am going to wear it like this. Wow, would you look at that? I'd say that is a great present for your girlfriend if she's into tools. If she's not, she's probably into tools because you're a tool. See what I did there? Tool girl shirt, perfect.